Hey, thanks for watching the video or listening. If you haven't subscribed before, please do. That would be really helpful to me. Today we are going to have Kelly Hymore, who is the owner of Adamas Jiu Jitsu. We're going to cover a couple of my favorite subjects, some martial arts, some jiu jitsu, talking about the expansion of his gyms in a time when it seems like nobody's expanding. We're also going to even talk a little bit about boxing, which is fun and very new to me.
Y'all ready for this?
Welcome to the DeVerna podcast, where we talk about business, life, and how to win at both.
So here with Kelly Hymore. He's the owner of Adamas Jiu Jitsu here in Toledo. And
Perrysburg.
And Perrysburg, yeah.
Right.
I just think the Toledo thing captures the whole essence, but there's definitely two separate entities kind of running inside of the umbrella or under the umbrella, right? Don't you think?
100%. There's different energy in each gym, and you can feel it when you walk in. There's just different personalities to it.
Yeah,
both
for sure.
both unique, both really good, but they're definitely different.
So, and you've got really, the talent level is incredible, starting with, the lead coach who is black belt world champion, Dante Leone, who, 170 pounds, one of the best pound for pound guys in the world. So a really big deal there.
Yeah,
obviously.
he's phenomenal. We are so lucky to have someone of Dante's caliber in jiu-jitsu, but like I always tell everyone, his personality and who he is as a man is even greater than his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, and obviously there's not a lot of people that have, the perspective you have, because you've lived with. How long has he lived with you?
Almost 6 years.
Yeah. So you,
Five and a half, yeah.
You've got a very special relationship with him, and you've been able to see him, kind of develop, obviously, or not kind of exactly develop, but I've known him for a couple years, and the fact that he's 25 years old, when you look at him physically, you see that matches. But when you talk to him, he does not, whether he's an old soul or just like he's mature way beyond his years.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can go out and kind of rip somebody's head off and then in the next day be rolling with somebody like me where he's got an old guy that he's got to be gentle with. The kid's unbelievable. It's
Unbelievable.
Really, it's
way more mature than his age. No ego involved at all. Obviously, to be a great competitor, you have to have a little ego.
Yeah.
But outside of competition, he's the most humble, hardworking guy I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's cool to see him throwing around the weights the way he does, and
Oh my God!
And then throwing around the bodies the way he does too at times. So.
His weightlifting is unbelievable. I think we used to have a strength coach, and he used to tell me all the time that he could be a national level power lifter if he just chose to lift weights instead of jiu-jitsu. That's how strong and how good his technique is in lifting.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, but your history in kind of the sport of fighting has gone way before the jiu-jitsu stuff with Dante, right? How long have you been doing the boxing to MMA to whatever? Tell us a little background on that stuff.
Yeah, so I started training boxing when I was 10. My dad's was a former professional boxer, and he used to just work out with me at home and teach me boxing. And then when I got a little older, he started taking me to gyms. So I stayed in boxing. I boxed a little in the Marine Corps. I got out. I got some jobs in Vegas as a sparring partner for some guys fighting for titles, and I was going to turn pro, but I just didn't pull the trigger. I came home, didn't do anything for a long time, and then some guy asked me, because MMA was coming along, he asked me, he heard I had boxed, and he said he needed help with his stand-up. So he invited me into his gym to teach him boxing, and then it just kind of took off from there. I met Dante at a gym that guy owned, and that was when he was 12 years old, 13 years old maybe.
Okay.
So almost 13 years, 12 years I known him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. So you've evolved. Like your gym at one point was, what else was it before it became a pure jujitsu, and now it's evolving even beyond that, right?
Yeah, we went by the name of Bad Dog. We were a boxing MMA gym.
Okay.
So when the gym Dante and I both started out together, I left and started my own gym, and Dante stayed there. But then I just went into boxing and MMA, training and managing fighters. Not really like for classes, but actual fighters.
Okay.
So that's how it kind of went from there.
Interesting. Yeah. So one of the things that's kind of neat about our evolution, or what I'm seeing now, is you're starting to evolve into like we're getting some boxing classes. And I know you're in charge of that, which puts you back in the middle of everything a little bit more than it was. But what inspired you to get back into that? Because that's kind of a you thing, right? Like that's kind of a little bit more where you are, right?
Yeah, I kind of got burned out from training athletes about 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't think I really have trained anyone in 3 years.
Uh-huh.
So I was just getting burned out. I took a break. Our good buddy Santos Flores kept telling me, come back, teach. And I just didn't have the energy or the want to. And then COVID hit, and we had to come up with ways of raising money to help send our fighters to camps or bring people in. And I thought, okay, well, I'll teach some boxing privates. I have some people interested in private, so I'll take that money and I'll give it to the fighters to go train. And then people just kept asking me, so I said, okay, I'll start teaching classes, and just kind of took off from there.
So I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole here because I find this very interesting. So I was with you, boy, it's a little over a year ago when I first heard the story about your lifestyle, you know? So when I think about the way you're living, it's different than anyone else that I know. So we kind of covered that Dante lives with you.
Yeah.
Right? But tell us a little bit more about who else right this minute lives in the house that you own.
Almost all the instructors live with us. Daniel Calvert, Brad Schneider, and Nilo. I don't know his last name.
That's
he
kind of
just
funny.
moved here, so they're staying with me right now.
So these guys are jiu-jitsu fanatics.
Yes.
Who are either high-level amateurs or not low-level professionals, but beginning their professional trek, and they've come here to train with Dante, who's one of the best in the world, and they are our coaches. And so that's pretty neat, but the part that's so unique is that they all live with you.
Right.
And you've just opened up your house to say, hey, while you guys are here doing this thing, you're allowed, I guess, to be under my roof, and we'll take care of that part. And that's a big lifestyle choice for them, but they're young men that's kind of part of the cutting their teeth part. But with you, you know,
yeah, it's hard to explain.
Like that's a really unique thing. Like yeah. I don't have any parallels to draw. I don't know anyone else that has anything like that I could even reference. I just think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty neat. I'm sure it's got its neat moments, and I'm sure it has its moments that aren't so neat for you. Yeah.
But overall, it's been pretty good. We're in a position right now. We're going to transfer these guys into their own home soon, so I think it'll benefit all of us. But there's a lot of fun involved in it. Sometimes it gets a little hectic with people cooking all hours of the night and laundry and not cleaning up after ourselves that well, but
yeah,
overall it's a pretty positive experience.
Yeah, that's really something. I think that's the camaraderie that's built there and the fun that you're probably having, kind of a dad father figure, but yet I being around you, I know you can lighten up and have some fun with these guys, and kind of some of the playful and the banter and the picking on and stuff that happens when people actually like each other. That's pretty cool.
Right.
So
it's a lot of fun. All of them have great sense of humor. They're all pretty smart kids, so it's good.
Yeah. And so the expectation for those guys is to come here, get the expertise of Dante, train with a high-level person consistently day to day so that they can, bring their career up. And meanwhile, they're coaching and at least able to have a life and able to have some kind of a, career that they're working towards. And the fact that maybe at some point they're all, or they, I'm sure you're going to lose some, but some maybe end up being in Toledo coaching jiu-jitsu for 5 or 10 years, right?
I could see that for sure. They're all chasing a dream. They're
Yeah.
all giving it their best shot. So that's all you can ask for. You provide them an opportunity and then see where they can go with it. But it's fun to watch people pursue excellence and professionalism. And that's the one thing about Dante sets a great example. He's a pro's pro.
Yeah.
He takes no shortcuts. He sets a great example for them, for our students, and actually for me as well, because he just puts it all into it. All
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. It's pretty neat that you see somebody that young. I mean, if somebody offers him a fight, he takes the fight. He's pretty much beat up. I mean, that type of job has you somewhat beat up all the time, but there's never any excuses. There's never any complaints. I mean, I've never heard him complain once, ever.
No,
It's
he has
pretty
too
amazing.
much character for that.
Yeah.
He has no excuses. He lays it on the line. He lives with the result because he doesn't shortcut anything.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
the way you got to do it, though. You can't have, to get closure at the end of your career, you have to lay it on the line or you're going to have regrets. And I can honestly tell you, I don't think he's going to have any regrets.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the Perrysburg gym, it's an interesting thing because you walk in, you kind of feel it. But like, what would you say, separating the Toledo and the Perrysburg gyms, what would you say in regards to the Perrysburg gym itself as its own entity?
Yeah, Perrysburg is like a little bit of an older crowd and a little bit more laid back, and it's got a kind of a small town feel. It's very accommodating, very open, and when people walk in, they instantly feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah.
So it's really a cool vibe. Not that that doesn't happen in Toledo, but it's
Sure.
a little different because the guys that train in Perrysburg are not old, but a little older than Toledo.
And it's a little bit smaller.
It's
too,
it's smaller for
you know.
sure.
And I don't know. I know you have a vision for Perrysburg, like an expansion at some point. And I don't know if that'll be, during COVID, or we don't know exactly how long that this is going to continue. But at some point, when we're beyond it, or wherever the timeline falls, I know there's a bigger plan that you've kind of started the ball rolling with, right?
Yeah, we started doing our research. We're going to try to expand it. So hopefully when this lease is up, and I believe that's not this March, but the following March, we'll be in place to open the new Perrysburg gym. And we're really going to shoot big in Perrysburg because we're going to have a boxing room separate from the jiu-jitsu room, a big jiu-jitsu room, a weight room, a nice viewing area, outside workout area for flipping tires and pulling sleds, a dorm so when we bring athletes in, they have a place to stay, and more permanent housing for guys that are going to be here longer term. So that's the goal.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be cool because you don't just have those guys that live with you, but you also have high-level competitors come into our gym to train with Dante, to make themselves better, to make Dante better. Like, that's a big part of the jiu-jitsu culture as well, right?
100%. We are always bringing people in for Dante to train with because, every fight's a little different and it's a different style. He has to get ready for different styles, so you have to try to bring guys in that can emulate the guy's fighting style. And plus, it's always good to just get different looks and tough guys in there. So that's always something we shoot to do, is bring someone in at least once a month, once every other month.
And then he goes to other people too, right?
Absolutely.
So he's out. I mean, bouncing around, going to get different looks with different gyms and different places all the time, right?
Yeah, he's always improving. He's always trying to get better, for sure. And sometimes he does have to travel to get better, for sure.
Yeah. So then you've got the Toledo gym, which has just gone. I mean, to say an expansion is an understatement. A complete makeover on that gym. Like, first of all, I guess what inspired that, and second of all, like, during this time, how is that transition? Just because we have lockdown, we had some pretty significant things that have happened since the plans were put in place to expand that big.
Yeah, well, we originally did it. It took us a long time to work out the details, but once we started, they started construction, and then COVID hit, and it just went to a complete stop. So that slowed us down a little bit, but it worked out. So when the COVID lifted, I think it was like a month later, we got to move into the new place. It's like, I think 6,000 square feet. It's got a huge jiu-jitsu mat, nice locker rooms, a little boxing room, a beautiful viewing area, office, and a reception area. So we're pretty proud of it. It's pretty nice, and it's befitting a gym for a world champion. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like when it's not like the gyms you see, like there's probably not very many gyms that are on that level. Like it's a pretty special place.
Yeah, and that's
A
the
lot of
goal.
effort.
That's the goal, is to always get better and make it special, make people feel like it's home away from home, and they look forward to coming in training. So that's always the goal, and that's going to be the goal in Perrysburg when we go, even to expand upon that, even at a larger scale, is the goal for right now.
Yeah, and you've had not just the Perrysburg to Toledo, but now you've also had an expansion in what you're offering. So you're now like gotten back to your old roots, kind of, in the boxing thing.
Yeah.
So I know Santos, which is one of the guys at the gym, was kind of picking at you to start doing that, but either he picked enough or something kind of got reignited with you to do that. But now you've got, I mean, there's a lot of boxing classes, and there's a lot of people going to them.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool little niche that you have there. So,
Yeah, I would give Santos the most credit. Maybe timing had something to do with it, but he kept putting it in my ear. And I miss boxing. Boxing was my first love, for sure. I love jiu-jitsu. I think it's a great sport, but I myself don't do jiu-jitsu very often. But I've always loved boxing, and I love teaching it. It's a lot of fun for me to teach. And the guys are there, and girls are amazing. So it's a lot of fun.
it's a lot of work. So as a lifetime martial artist, I've done the boxing class thing, and I walk in there and I feel like I've got two left feet. Like it is a very, very different. And I've tried boxing before, and I knew it was hard. So I wasn't one of those people that just thinks you can go in there and punch something. It's not like that. I didn't think that, but it was even harder than I remembered it.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because you think everybody knows how to punch something. That's maybe they kind of do, but not in a boxing format. Not in that. It's just so interesting. It's so sophisticated.
Yeah, it's I like to, Doc Pino, I like to tease him because I tell him he struggles a little at boxing class, and I always tease him like, who knew boxing was harder than surgery? So, the stereotype of the dumb boxer just doesn't hold water. You have to be athletic and have to have an intelligence to do it well, and it is hard, and it takes a long time to get good at it.
Yeah, I would say, not that I've been a lifetime martial artist but for over 15 years, to go into a boxing class, I think you could teach somebody for probably 3 months to a whole year just to get their footwork not good, but just to get their footwork not wrong.
Yeah, boxing footwork is amazingly hard.
It's amazingly difficult.
Yeah.
Like you could literally not even throw a punch and you could be working on your footwork, and it would still be difficult. I still think it would be hard. It's a lot of fun to watch people that know what they're doing when you've tried to do it yourself and don't know what the hell you're doing. You know, you can see the difference. Like when there's 15 people in that class, if there's 2 that know what they're doing, you know who they are.
Right.
You know who they are in 1 second. I know who they are in 15 seconds.
Right.
But it's really interesting to watch the difference between somebody that knows boxing and somebody that doesn't know boxing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. So is your vision of this, now we're starting to see kind of different areas come together. And so you mentioned, a bigger facility where you'll have athletes that live there all year round, and then athletes that come in and stay there once in a while in the jiu-jitsu arena. and maybe you'll do some of that for boxers as well.
Yeah, interestingly enough, a couple pros came in to our gym this week and have been working out in the mornings at our facility now. So there's a real possibility of more coming in once we expand, for sure.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're really coming together with. I mean, now you're offering boxing. You've got jiu-jitsu. You're talking about after the expansion happens, you're going to have lodging for people, short term, long term, and weights and space for other, I don't know, cross training type things.
Yes.
So you're able to offer like this really becomes it's already a big deal. So I don't want it, but it becomes a really, really big deal, like a lifestyle center for people.
Yeah,
on some level.
100%. And our goal is to draw real good professionals. Have them have camps at our place, and when Dante's getting ready, have people there. So iron sharpens iron and all the cliches, but that's the goal, to have the highest level of jiu-jitsu and hopefully eventually boxing in the area there.
Well, one of the interesting things, and people have heard me say this many, many times, but like these guys are tough, right? They're really tough guys, but when you get them off the mats, they're the best people ever.
Right.
Like these are literally the highest quality people, and it's one of my favorite things that these people that are so tough and able to do what they're able to do in a physical sense, in forcing someone, forcing another human to submit or give up or knocking them out in boxing or whatever it is, they're able to do that, but they're so gentle and so kind.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things because the martial arts and also with the boxing, I think people have this stereotype that they paint, and it's usually just because they don't know these people. Right. And once they get to know them, as somebody that's been around it for so long, it's just so neat to watch who that is. And it's really cool to see somebody like yourself who is clearly like a leader in this space. Like I've been around doing this stuff for a while. I've seen lots of gyms. I've never seen a gym evolve into something more than a gym where people like live there. People can come in and train there. They can leave. They can not just practice one discipline, but more than one. Like this is like, it's going to be, I'm already watching it happen, and it's really cool. It's going to be really, really neat to watch it evolve. And then, because still in the infant stages, really,
right.
Overall, Adamas is just a baby, and Dante's helping you kind of make a name for it. But, it's going to be really neat when you see Dante's protege, whoever that is.
Right.
We don't even know who that's going to be yet. You've probably got a couple ideas. There's a young lady that's pretty special at our gym, but there's some really talented people. But it's going to be neat to watch that development and watch the gym and all these cool things. It's neat to be sitting down and talking to somebody. It's such a visionary. It's going to be really cool when we look back 5 years from now and we're like, remember when we were talking about this and this and this? So like I think all that stuff's fun. Is there anything else that people should know about with Adamas? Like, how do they get in touch if they're hearing something that they like? Like, how do they track you down? What's the process for? Hey, I'd like to try the boxing class, or I'd like to try some jiu-jitsu classes, or those things.
Well, we always offer a free week to try it out, either both classes. So you don't have to make a decision. So it's free for the first week. Our boxing class is free to all police, fire, military, veterans, and first responders. So the boxing part's always free to them.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can. The best way to do it is message us on Facebook, because we just switched our website, and I don't have it memorized, sadly. So, but the best thing to do is message us on Facebook.
We can probably
Jiu-Jitsu.
insert it here,
Okay.
right? Yeah, we can find that and insert it.
So that would be the best way. And we are running Christmas specials throughout till December 24th that are substantially discounted.
That's awesome. So if you haven't subscribed to me yet, you should definitely subscribe to me. So that's something, if you've been watching our stuff, starting to get some of this material and you like it, I'd love you to share it. we're looking to share and kind of get the word out, because Toledo is kind of a boxing town.
Yeah.
Right? Like boxing
a
is
rich history of
a
boxing.
rich history of boxing. And so, there's just not very many opportunities. You see some martial arts centers. Obviously, ours is unique, having a black belt world champion. Right. One of the best in the world.
Which is unbelievable.
It's really unbelievable that it happens in Toledo.
Yeah.
A Canadian that ends up in Toledo, it's pretty special. But then to have the boxing thing too, like that's going to be, I think that's a really nice cherry on top of the sundae. And I think you're going to have a lot of attraction to that, like just kind of who it is. And I think there's, it's a spot that's a void's kind of been left for a little while in Toledo with that.
Yeah.
So I think you're filling a hole that's going to be pretty neat.
Yeah, I hope so. And it should be a lot of fun, because that's the one thing about this whole thing is it's fun. I mean, it's not without its stresses and setbacks, but ultimately it's fun. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say, if you're having a job that's fun, it's not really a job. So you wake up
Right.
and you're, in your case, you're living with a bunch of young fraternity boy age, although they're replacing the studying and the partying with lifting weights and
Right.
and jujitsu, but it's still fun to be around that young, enthusiastic, and then to have somebody that's kind of leading them down that path with, hey, this is where we're going, guys, and they're going to get an opportunity to be involved in it and commit to it if they want, and it's not going to be for everybody, and that's okay too, because
Right.
it's a big vision.
Yeah.
It's a big vision, and I know you've got some people that are pretty close to you that help with, some of the connecting of the dots. But be honest with you, we all know you're the guy that signs on the dotted line. Like nobody else's his name is next to yours, really. When it comes to that stuff, it's you and Dante kind of driving the train. So
Yeah.
So
We have a great staff, though. Mac Arnos is incredible. Little Sasha Reynolds, she's part of the staff. Liz Tran, great martial artist.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. Little, short, small, but she scares me.
yeah, and also, well, she runs circles around
Yeah.
almost everybody.
Yeah.
Another black belt world champion.
Yeah,
You
another
know?
black belt world champion. Daniel and Brad, both high quality guys. Nilo's a good guy, and then we have a little group of guys we call the Council of Elders that we lean on a lot for advice and direction, and so nobody does this alone. To make it work right, you need a lot of input. So I'm really happy about it. And Dante's just amazing. I mean, he's intelligent and he knows jiu-jitsu inside and out. Not just the fighting part, but the business part. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah, he's a big help. Help.
Pretty neat to watch. So we're going to put some links here so you can kind of find Adamas and be able to connect the dots if you want to maybe try that week for free, which I would highly recommend. The jiu-jitsu, I mean, I'm 48 years old, and I'm not the oldest one there. Like, I'm not even close to the oldest one there. A lot of times people think, well, I did that when I was a kid, that martial arts thing. But let me tell you, I mean, I think I'm probably in the best shape of my adult life.
Sure.
And I've run marathons and done stuff like that. Like, you go out on the mats and start grappling with another human, like you're using muscles you don't ever use for anything else.
Right.
It's very, very, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty fantastic. And I'm very thankful to have found you guys, to be honest with you. It's made my life a lot better. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you having the vision to be able to put this thing together and keep it moving forward, and not just being, a lot of people during a time like this have just said, well, we'll start thinking about this stuff again when COVID, and that's not the way it's been. An expansion of a new gym, expansion of opportunities for people to come into the gym and train more and all that stuff. I think it's really, really awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate it.
yeah,
And you're a
thanks
big
for all
part
that.
of it, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I love being a part of it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's it from us for now. Have a great rest of your day. Don't work too hard. We're not working here. So we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
products and services using the following business names: Creative Financial Partners, Insurance and Financial Services, Ameritas Investment Company, LLC, AIC, member FINRA, SIPC, Security Investments, Ameritas Advisory Services, AAS Investment Advisory Services, AIC and AAS are not affiliated with Creative Financial Partners. Products and services are limited to residents of states where the representative is registered. This is not an offer of securities in any jurisdiction, nor is it specifically directed to a resident of any jurisdiction. As with any security, request a prospectus from your representative. Read it carefully before you invest or send money. A representative will contact you to provide requested information. Representatives of AIC and AAS do not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding the situation.
Whew. Thanks for watching.